Let me tell y'all about the time that I got bitten by a shark. So, what I'm doing here in this video is I had a bottle of 3-in-1 shampoo, conditioner, body wash, you know, stuff that you would get for like babies. It smelled like bananas, it was very delicious, so I got it and I used it. I smelled delicious for a little bit while I was using it. But now I have this empty bottle. It looked like a shark. What was I gonna do? Throw it out? No, that's a waste of a shark. So what I was doing here is outlining all of the necessary parts to cut out to make a jack-o'-lantern. I thought jack-o'-lantern in the shape of a shark, that sounds really cute. It's plastic, so I'd be able to keep it on my shelf for several years in a row. That'd be super cool. So I was doing what you normally do with a pumpkin and first outlining where I was going to cut. I made the mistake of using this pen, so when my hand went over it, it would smear a little bit. So I had to go over it a couple of times when I was cutting things out. You see me here opening a small X-Acto knife and being very careful about where the blade was going, very controlled. And I was doing my very best. You know, most people that know me don't trust me with a knife, which I think is super weird. You can see the control here. I'm changing the grip depending on what angle I need the knife to be and how much control I need to have over it. And I started with cutting out the eyes because those are just triangles. So I do one and then I do the other. Poking it out was actually way harder than I thought it would be. You know, I thought you do 1 slice, 2 slice, 3 slice, boom, you push it in. That was not the case. This plastic was a lot harder than I was expecting. Doing one cut was easy to get through, but getting all the way through and then connecting the corners was a lot more difficult than I was expecting. But I did manage to do that. I did have to cut out the bottom later to get all of the stuff out of it after I knocked it in. And you can see me here just pulling away bits of shards that are coming out of the eyes. It was a bit of a process. But, you know, in every craft project you're doing, I feel like a bit of effort and a big process makes it feel a lot more satisfying once you get to the end of it. And as you can see, I made it through. I got both eyes out in decent time. There was still a bit of soap and water from when I rinsed it out, so I had to get a towel to finish clearing that off. And you can see here I have to go over doing the mouth again because I wiped it away with my hand. And you can see the project supervisor coming in and making sure that I'm doing everything right. I'm following all of the guidelines, which of course I am. I am making sure that my hand is not wiping away the ink again. I'm making sure to get my lines nice and clean. I tried my very best to get it symmetrical, but you know, not everything is 100% going to be up to code. She did get a few scratches as I took a small break and transitioned to cutting out the mouth. I think that tip was greatly appreciated. Clearly she approves of the project as she left. Okay, so I did in fact cut it out, but I'm pretty sure this is where I got bitten by the shark in quotation marks. Basically, I cut my thumb when the knife slipped as I was cutting the mouth. It was not very pretty. There was some slight blood, but this knife is very sharp and it went deep and it bruised some parts of my thumb. I'm pretty sure that I hit a nerve of some kind. But Thankfully, it has healed up now. It's been about a week. It's healed up very nicely, and you can see me here trying to use sort of clear glue to seal up the mark that I made. Newsflash, it didn't go well, sadly, so my shark now just has this cut up the line, so instead of the cute jack-o'-lantern, it is slightly creepy. There was a fair bit of blood on the towel, but thankfully it's not noticeable, and it did come out in the wash, which I'm very thankful for, and I'm sure my mother is also thankful for, since that is her towel that I borrowed and bled all over. Lol, XD, sorry, Mom. But then, since the fins were all yellow, I decided to paint it yellow, but that didn't really work. It was all just kind of smearing all over the place. So after trying and trying and trying with this yellow paint, it was clear to me that I needed some sort of alternative. So I found these like Crayola pastel kind of crayons, except they're not really crayons. They're more softer than crayons, but they're also softer than oil pastels. I have no idea what you would call them, but it's like this paste in a glue stick form, and that was a lot better. Like, you can see me very easily wipe off all of the paint. So I went to go get this sort of glue stick type of yellow to use on it instead, and that worked infinitely better. I could see results right away. Again, it did not cover up the weird jagged line that I gave my shark, but it did do a lot better job at painting it than the actual paint did. I still have to do the other half of it, but I did get the face done, and I did find a way for it to stand up on its own. So that's pretty cool. And with all jack-o'-lanterns, there are two ways that I thought of lighting it up. Obviously, traditional candles are out of the question because that could melt the plastic, and burning plastic smell is not exactly something that I want in my room. So it was either a flashlight or an electric candle. Surprise, surprise, I do not have any electric candles currently in my room. I really should get a couple just to do with projects because I think they look really nice when they're lit up. But I did not have any on hand when I was doing this. So I went to go get one of the several flashlights that I have. I wanted to make sure that I got a regular one and not a UV flashlight, which I also have in my room. And as you can see here, it is falling over without something inside of it glowing. What I did to get it to stand up was I took two magnets that I have and just put it one inside, one outside, and put it at the back, and it stood up super easy like that. A nice counterweight. And I put it inside, and you can't see it at all on camera, but the glow is phenomenal. I think it turned out really well, even if the smile is super creepy. Putting the light inside did show all of the parts that I was missing, so I am gonna have to go over it now that this oily stuff is finished. But yeah, that's kind of it. Catch you all on the flip side.